Hi guys! Welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new legal advice content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
First one is titled, Someone I've Never Met Claims They Own My House. Hi everyone, I wanted to get your opinion on something troubling. I'll try to be as detailed as I can be. We live in NYC if that helps. We were just away on vacation for a week and came back home yesterday. When we returned, among the other junk mail, there was a letter from a law firm for a person whose name I'd never heard before, directed to our address. It said something along the lines of, "We've received notice that a foreclosure action has been filed against you. Please call us and we can represent you." It also listed the names of the two people involved in the lawsuit, as well as an incident number for the county clerk's office. This letter isn't an official letter, more of trying to drum up business for the law firm. We returned on Sunday, so we're unable to get in touch with the county clerk until this morning. This morning we called the county clerk's office and they said there is a lease pendens filed on our property, not a foreclosure. We said, how can this be possible? We've never missed a mortgage payment and have lived here for 6 years. We had a title search and checked for liens when we purchased the house, and we know the last 3 families to live here over the past 20 years, and it ain't these guys. We've never heard of either of the people involved in this lawsuit. The clerk couldn't really advise us, but gave us the name of the law firm who initiated the action, so we called them. They told us that the person in the letter, who we have never met, spoken to, or had any dealings with whatsoever, is being sued because the law firm's client was in dealings with him to buy foreclosures to flip, but now is out a lot of money due to some nefarious dealings on the part of the first guy. Apparently, this con artist was required by the law firm to provide deeds to any properties he owns, and among others he provided one for our address. How he got this, I don't know. I assume he made it in Photoshop or something. He claims he owns our house and the one across the street. I have no idea if he actually owns the one across the street or not. We are still listed as the owners of our home in public records and we have the deed. I cannot stress enough how much we do not know the man claiming to own our house. We have never met, spoken to, or had any dealings with him whatsoever. We had never even heard his name until yesterday. Our house has never been in foreclosure, while we've owned it and for any owners before that. We have an appointment for a consult with a lawyer on Wednesday, the one who helped us buy our house 6 years ago, coincidentally. But I have no idea what's going on or what this guy hopes to gain, how big of a deal this is or how complicated this will be to fix. Any guidance or advice anyone can offer in advance with our meeting with our lawyer would be very helpful. Edit, thank you so much for all your guidance. Figures that the post I made about potentially getting screwed is the one that takes off. Here's some more information based on everyone's comments. The chance that this guy has a legitimate claim to our house is 0.001%. Only a Sith deals in absolutes, so I don't want to say the chance is nil, but this guy is a known con man, being sued for conning somebody else. I looked his name up online and apparently he keeps creating new real estate companies to fleece people out of money, then escapes into the night. He's done it at least 3 times that I can find, based off dismal reviews of his real estate companies. Unfortunately, I can't speak to the people across the street because that was a flip that hasn't been sold yet. He may or may not actually own it, I have no idea. At this point we are not personally involved in this lawsuit, our property is just associated with it. The con man hasn't made any attempts to acquire our property, he is just lying to the law firm suing him, saying he already bought it. Why? I don't know. The only thing I can think of is that he bought no properties with the money his business partner gave him, and is now desperately trying to cover his ass with falsified documents. Why did he not think that he would be found out? That's just the way malignant narcissists work, I guess. I definitely look into our title insurance standing. I'm a worrywart, so if it was offered to us, I would have taken it. I'll definitely keep you all updated as we meet with our lawyer tomorrow and things progress. Update. This is the first update, and I'm hopeful there will just be one more after this, wrapping everything up so we can put this behind us. This is what has happened since my last post. After the initial letter from the law firm saying they can represent us, we started getting phone calls from other firms, saying they'd been alerted to the lease pendens and could also represent us. We were not super happy with this and asked how they got our cell number. They said they subscribe to a service that alerts them when things like liens, foreclosures etc. are filed on a property. We hung up. We looked at all our documents from the closing and confirmed that we do indeed have homeowner's title insurance. Yay! Our deed is a bargain and sale deed, for those wondering. We also pulled all deeds/mortgages and other documents for our property going back to 1972 online. The last action was when we bought our house. No documents have been filed since. I signed up on Acris to be alerted to any changes made to the property documents. Thank you for the Redditor who suggested that. I also emailed the DA for my county, and their Economic Crimes Bureau had emailed me back to ask for my cell number to follow up with me. I gave it to him, but he hasn't called yet, so maybe that will be in the next, and hopefully final, update. My husband met with our lawyer this morning, and I asked him to speak about all the things that you all suggested in the last post. Prior to the meeting, our lawyer had reached out to the firm who filed the lease pendens, and actually got a copy of the court transcript where the con man said he owns our property. According to the transcript, he claims he bought it in 2016. Our lawyer called their law firm and basically said, "Where is the deed?" They supposedly hemmed and hawed about it, so we're starting to think they don't have it, and never did. They may just be going off the words of a sleazeball who's like, "Yeah, I totally own that place. I even have a deed for it." No, you can't see it. It's possible that based off this alone, they filed against our property. In addition, it's not like this guy is saying he bought our house last week and the paperwork just hasn't been filed yet. He claims he bought it 3 years ago and there is still no paperwork filed to attest to this fact. I was able to pull up all records for our home going back nearly 50 years, in about 15 minutes online. Our lawyer does not like the way this other firm is handling this, and basically said to them, "You have no grounds for this. Take it off." The attorney handling this case at that law firm is out of the office today and tomorrow, but we'll be calling our lawyer back on Friday. I am hopeful that it will just be a matter of take the lease pendens off. And okay. I'll update again after the call between the lawyers. I told my husband the number one question is where is the deed? When we initially spoke with them, they clearly said they had it in hand, which is part of the reason I was freaking out. I honestly just want to be done with this, so getting back at the suing law firm for gross negligence, or whatever term fits the issue, is of no interest to me at the moment. If they give us a hard time about removing the lease pendens, then we'll see. So far my takeaway from this that I would share with anyone going through something similar is that law firms are made up of people. And just like people can be good and smart and kind, like all of you, they can also be dumb, shifty and lazy, and not bothered to do their due diligence, even though that's like 50% of why they exist in the first place. But I'm not bitter. Thank you all so much for your help. I'll update again as things progress and hopefully conclude. Final update. Hey all, as promised, here is the final, barring catastrophe, update. So it has been a while since my previous update, and I wish I could tell you all that it's because we were involved in a super exciting court battle. No, you're out of order. But the truth is much more annoying and banal, as life tends to be. As we left it in the last post a couple months ago, our lawyer called the law firm who submitted the action against our property and said, "You have no grounds for this, take it off." The paralegal he spoke to said the lawyer handling the case was out that day but would contact our lawyer soon. They did not. For weeks. Despite everyone bugging them, they were very disinterested in resolving the issue. Color me shocked. In the meantime, we're getting junk mail from law firms and mortgage management companies at least every 2 to 3 days, saying they can help us with this issue we don't have. The notices start to be addressed to us personally instead of to this other random guy who said he owned our house. This displeases us. I start keeping a little pile of these letters next to the stairs with copies of our mortgage payments notices from the bank, just in case. This goes on for a while, long enough for my initial anxiety to fade into more of an A situation. Until yesterday. Our lawyer finally got a response to his email from July, where he outlines everything and attached a preponderance of evidence showing we continue to own our house, and their response is, and I quote, "We will remove the action. Period. No good afternoon, no sincerely. We will remove the action." A shard of an email after weeks of worry. So with a whimper, we got what we wanted. Obviously we will continue to monitor everything until they actually do what they said they will, but it is a load off my mind. I wish I had something more exciting to tell you, but it seems in the legal world, exciting equals bad. Thank you all for your concern, your advice, and your upvotes. I hope that if any of you face a similar situation, that reading this can help you figure out how to resolve it. Last one is titled, California. Grandmother gave my brother and me an equal share portfolio each in the late 90s when we were kids. Brother sold his when they were worth a car. I left mine in and now they're a substantial amount. Brother and his girlfriend want my half now. When my brother was 16 and I was 4, my grandmother set aside a share portfolio for us. As soon as we were old enough, it was transferred into our own accounts, and it was only 4 years later that my brother dipped heavily into his and bought a new Honda. I knew about mine for much longer than he did before it became mine, and watched it grow since I understood what it was. By the time I was given full control, it was already worth a ridiculous amount because a big portion of it was invested in Apple, and I'm torn on using the funds locked up as they are, because Dad drilled it into me to leave it to grow until I'm 40-something. I don't talk much with my brother. He's done some stupid things to the family over the years, and I didn't really grow up with him, so all I usually hear about his life comes through Dad. His new girlfriend works in law though, and I've received a formal letter from them both that the investments my grandmother made were designed to be for both of us to use, not just for me alone, and his was only around $15,000. The number is right, but mine was only worth that at the time he spent it too. They want half of the value of mine now, and his girlfriend has informed me if I don't give them access, then the legal fees and fines would eat up my half and I'd be left with nothing. The dividends alone support a huge part of my life, and they've saved me a few times. If half of that disappeared, it'd set me back years. I know it sounds selfish, but I'm really used to having the extra income back me up when I've wanted to move. I've lived in 4 states by my own choice, and I want to move and take in more before I settle down, if I ever do. How likely is it they'll win and leave me with nothing? As far as I know, there was no paperwork, or will just my grandmother's word. She set up my brother's accounts when he turned 19, but she gave them to Dad at the same time as my brother got his, and Dad transferred the whole lot to me 6 years ago. For my share, I have all the logins, the trading accounts and bank accounts are in my name, and the shares are all solely in my name too. Should I find my own lawyer, and if I need one, what kind do I need? I have an accountant I've used for years, but this doesn't seem like an accounts problem but a law one. Good news update. Mostly good news. I worked with my dad and got my own lawyer. I got the timeline of my shares wrong, but it comes out the same. What my brother and I inherited from my grandmother was originally part of my grandfather's portfolio. He was the money-savvy one. My grandmother looked after those after he died, and she personally set up my brother's accounts and gave him control of his part. She didn't do the same with mine before she died. I thought she had already set the accounts up for me and given control to Dad before passing. Instead, the shares were in her will, and she left everything she owned to my dad with instruction that what was $15,000 worth when my brother got his equivalent part would go to me when I was old enough to know how to take care of them. There was no trust, she just trusted my dad. My dad did the right thing and set up accounts for me and gave me control 6 years ago. My dad put some of his own shares in too as an extra leg up. Dad admitted to me he'd chewed out my brother last year when he came to him asking for money, and Dad had supported him several times over the years and got to the point he'd had enough. My brother found out I still had my investments because Dad had used me as an example of how brothers should have been using money. That's how my brother found out I still had shares and they'd grown. According to all that info, my lawyer tells me I'm in the clear, but it's not going to get to the point of finding that out in court, as my brother's girlfriend was only a legal secretary. I say was because the firm she worked for apologized and informed my lawyer she was terminated immediately. The letter I received from them had been edited to put her name in a position higher up than it should have been, and some of the contact information had been changed. A week after she was fired, my brother visited me begging for money. His girlfriend is in serious debt, and she took a chance on scamming cash from me and lost. I felt awful rejecting my own brother over and over, and if he hadn't involved his girlfriend needing an amount well into 5 figures, I might have given him some. The next morning I found all my tires had been slashed. Screw him, I don't feel bad anymore. The rest of the comments in the previous thread made me realize I don't know nearly enough about what I'm doing with the shares and dividends and money in general. A lot of the decisions I've made have been with Dad's help, and his advice has paid off well so far, but not because I knew it would, but because I had no idea what I was doing and left it up to him. I've booked in to work with a financial advisor to make the most of what I have. Thanks for listening.